world can feel loud. People speak. Opinions come from everywhere. Social media tells you who you should be. Work tells you how fast you must move. Relationships sometimes bring love, but also pain. Because of this, many people feel tired inside. Their mind is always reacting. Their peace is always shaking. But the ancient Stoic teachers showed another way. A quiet way. A strong way. A way where your peace does not depend on other people. A way where insults, pressure, and noise cannot easily disturb you. This is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming steady. It is about building an inner place that the outside world cannot control. In this video, we will slowly explore 10 simple Stoic principles. These ideas helped great thinkers stay calm in difficult times, and they can help you build a mind that stays peaceful, even when life becomes heavy. Let us begin this quiet journey together. Most people spend their whole life trying to control things they cannot control. They try to control what others think. They try to control what others say. They try to control how the world treats them. But this effort slowly makes the mind tired, because the world does not obey our wishes. Other people will always have opinions. Life will always bring change. The Stoic teachers understood this simple truth. Peace begins when we learn the difference between what we can control and what we cannot control. The great teacher Epictetus once said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This idea is the heart of Stoic strength. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control what strangers say on social media, but you can control your thoughts. You can control your reactions. You can control the meaning you give to events. When you truly understand this, something inside you becomes lighter. Instead of fighting the whole world, you begin working only on your own mind, and the mind slowly becomes calm. Another great Stoic, Marcus Aurelius, wrote these quiet words: "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This sentence may sound simple, but it can change the way you live. Think about a moment when someone criticized you online. Maybe a comment hurt you. Maybe you kept thinking about it all day. Your mood changed. Your peace disappeared. But the truth is very simple. The comment was only words on a screen. The suffering came from your reaction. The Stoics remind us that we always have a choice in that moment. We can hold the comment tightly in our mind, or we can gently release it. When you stop trying to control every opinion, your mind becomes quieter. Job pressure works the same way. Many people feel anxious because they want everything at work to go perfectly. They want approval from everyone. They want every plan to succeed. But work, like life, will always include uncertainty. Projects fail. People disagree. Unexpected problems appear. If your peace depends on perfect outcomes, your peace will always be fragile. The Stoics instead teach us to focus on effort. Effort is always in our control. Results are not. Seneca explained this wisdom with calm clarity. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Think about how often the mind creates stress before anything bad even happens. A message from the boss appears. The mind immediately imagines the worst. A partner seems quiet for a moment. The mind starts creating stories. Social media shows the success of others. The mind begins comparing. These thoughts feel powerful, but they are only thoughts. And thoughts are something we can learn to guide. The Stoic path is not about suppressing feelings. It is about gently observing them. You notice the thought. You see the reaction. Then you remind yourself of what is truly yours to control. Your choices, your character, your effort. Another teaching from Epictetus speaks directly to this truth. It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. This sentence invites us to pause. When something happens, the event itself is only a small moment, but the story we build around it can become huge. A friend does not reply to a message. The mind may say, "They are ignoring me." But the reality could be very different. They may be busy. They may be tired. They may simply have forgotten. Yet the mind quickly creates pain from imagination. When we understand this Stoic insight, we begin to slow down our reactions. We pause before believing every thought. We step back from the emotional storm, and slowly, the mind learns a new habit. Instead of reacting to everything, it becomes steady. Instead of chasing control over the world, it begins to build control within. This inner control is quiet, but it is powerful. It allows a person to walk through criticism without losing peace. It allows someone to face pressure without panic. It allows the heart to remain stable, even when life becomes unpredictable. And this quiet strength is the first step toward a life where the outside world no longer controls your inner calm. Once this principle begins to settle in the mind, another important Stoic lesson slowly appears. The world often feels like a large room filled with voices. Everyone is speaking. Everyone is judging. Everyone is sharing opinions about how others should live. Today, this noise is even louder because of social media. A single post can bring hundreds of opinions. Some people praise you. Some people criticize you. Some people judge you without even knowing you. If your peace depends on these opinions, your mind will never rest. One day you will feel proud. The next day you will feel hurt. Your emotions will rise and fall like waves in a storm. The Stoic teachers warned about this many centuries ago. They understood that the opinions of others are one of the biggest thieves of inner peace. The Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius left a simple reminder for himself. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself. These words invite us to look inward instead of outward. Happiness does not come from applause. Peace does not come from approval. Both of these things must grow inside the mind. When a person builds their identity on praise, they also become weak to criticism, because praise and criticism come from the same place. Other people. And other people are unpredictable. They may love you today. They may ignore you tomorrow. They may misunderstand you completely. This is simply the nature of human judgment. Another powerful insight comes from the Stoic teacher Epictetus. If someone speaks badly of you, do not defend yourself against the story. Simply say, "He does not know my other faults. Otherwise he would not mention only these." This quote may sound surprising at first, but its meaning is deep and freeing. Epictetus is teaching us humility and emotional distance. When someone criticizes you, the natural reaction is to defend yourself, to argue, to prove them wrong. But this reaction often gives their words more power. You begin thinking about the criticism all day. You replay the conversation again and again. The mind becomes trapped in a loop of defense. Stoic wisdom suggests another path. Let the words pass through you like wind passing through trees. You listen. You reflect calmly. If the criticism contains truth, you learn from it. If it does not contain truth, you release it. Either way, your peace remains safe. Think about the pressure many people feel online today. A photo is posted. A video is shared. Then the waiting begins. How many likes will appear? How many comments will arrive? Did people approve? Did people judge? This constant search for approval quietly trains the mind to depend on strangers. But strangers cannot build your self-worth, and strangers should not have the power to destroy it either. The Stoics believed that your character matters far more than your reputation. Reputation lives in the minds of others. Character lives inside your actions. And only one of these things truly belongs to you. The philosopher Seneca spoke about this with great clarity. Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. This sentence reveals a quiet truth about freedom. Many people believe freedom means doing whatever they want, but the Stoics believed true freedom is different. True freedom means your emotions are not controlled by the crowd. You do not change your values just to receive approval. You do not hide your true self to avoid criticism. Instead, you live according to your principles, slowly, calmly, steadily. This mindset becomes especially important in relationships. Sometimes a friend misunderstands you. Sometimes a partner becomes upset. Sometimes people form opinions based on incomplete information. If every misunderstanding shakes your identity, your emotional world will always feel unstable. But when your self-worth comes from your own values, the situation changes. You can listen without panic. You can explain yourself calmly. You can accept that not everyone will understand you. And that is perfectly okay. The Stoic goal is not to be liked by everyone. The goal is to live with honesty and integrity. Over time, this creates a powerful inner stability. Praise no longer makes you arrogant. Criticism no longer makes you collapse. Both become small sounds passing through the air. Your focus returns to the only thing that truly matters. Your actions, your choices, your character. When the mind stops chasing approval, it begins to feel quiet again. And in that quiet space, Another Stoic lesson slowly begins to appear. Life often brings moments that we do not want. Plans change. People leave. Opportunities disappear. Sometimes events arrive that feel unfair or painful. In those moments, the mind begins to resist reality. It says, "This should not be happening." It says, "Things should be different." It says, "Life should follow my plan." But the more the mind fights reality, the heavier the suffering becomes. The Stoic teachers understood a powerful truth. Peace begins when we learn to accept what we cannot change. Acceptance does not mean weakness. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It simply means seeing reality clearly. The wise emperor and philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, reminded himself of this simple idea. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together. This teaching invites us to stop arguing with life. Many people spend years wishing their past had been different. They replay old memories again and again. They imagine new endings for events that already happened. But the past cannot be rewritten. And the more energy we spend resisting it, the more we drain our present moment. Acceptance is the moment when the mind gently says, "This happened. It is part of my story. Now I will focus on how I move forward." Think about job pressure for a moment. Sometimes a person works very hard. They give their energy and their time. Yet the promotion goes to someone else. The mind immediately reacts. This is unfair. This should not have happened. Anger grows. Frustration grows. But Stoic wisdom teaches a calmer response. You cannot control every decision made by others. You cannot control every outcome. What you can control is your effort and your attitude. When you accept the event, the mind stops wasting energy fighting it, and that energy becomes available again for growth. Another deep reminder comes from the Stoic teacher, Epictetus. Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to happen, but rather wish that what happens happens the way it happens, and you will have a peaceful life. This idea may sound strange at first. How can someone wish for events exactly as they occur? But Epictetus is pointing toward a deeper harmony with life. When we demand that reality obey our expectations, disappointment becomes constant. But when we accept that life will unfold in its own way, the mind becomes flexible. Flexible minds suffer less. Rigid minds break more easily. Social media can also make acceptance difficult. People scroll through images of perfect lives, perfect vacations, perfect success, perfect relationships. And slowly the mind begins to believe that life must always look perfect. But reality is different. Every life contains struggle. Every person experiences disappointment. Every path contains unexpected turns. When you accept this truth, comparison begins to lose its power. You stop measuring your journey against the highlight moments of others. Instead, you begin to respect your own unique path. The Stoic philosopher Seneca spoke gently about this idea. Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant. This sentence carries a quiet lesson. Life will move forward whether we accept it or not. The events will still happen. Time will still pass. The only difference is how we experience the journey. When we resist everything, life feels like a constant struggle. When we accept reality with calm awareness, life becomes lighter. Acceptance also brings healing in relationships. Sometimes people do not behave the way we expect. They misunderstand us. They make mistakes. They fail to meet our hopes. If we demand perfection from everyone, disappointment will follow us everywhere. But when we accept that every human being is imperfect, compassion begins to grow. We learn patience. We learn understanding. We learn to respond instead of react. This acceptance does not mean allowing harmful behavior. It simply means recognizing human nature. People will sometimes fail. People will sometimes change. People will sometimes leave. These events are part of life's natural movement. And when the mind stops fighting this movement, a quiet strength begins to appear. You start to feel stable even when life shifts around you. Unexpected events no longer destroy your inner balance. Instead, you adapt. You breathe. You move forward. Little by little, acceptance transforms the way you experience the world. Challenges become teachers instead of enemies. Loss becomes part of growth instead of permanent pain. And this calm acceptance opens the door to another powerful Stoic practice. Difficult moments are part of every life. No one escapes them. Problems appear in work. Tension appears in relationships. Unexpected events arrive without warning. When these moments come, many people feel overwhelmed. Their thoughts begin racing. Their emotions become strong and unstable. The mind jumps quickly from fear to anger, from worry to frustration. But the Stoic teachers believed that the mind can be trained. Just like the body becomes stronger through exercise, the mind becomes calmer through practice. Calmness is not something we are simply born with. It is something we slowly develop. The wise emperor Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself of this inner training. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This idea returns again and again in Stoic thinking. Events will happen. Some will be pleasant. Some will be painful. But the real battle does not happen outside. The real battle happens inside the mind. Imagine a stressful day at work. A deadline approaches. Messages arrive quickly. Your boss asks for changes. Your mind begins to panic. Thoughts start repeating. What if I fail? What if I disappoint everyone? What if this becomes a problem for my career? These thoughts create pressure that grows larger than the situation itself. But a trained mind pauses. It takes a breath. It observes the situation clearly. Instead of reacting with fear, it responds with focus. What needs to be done first? What step can be taken right now? What action is truly helpful? Calm thinking turns chaos into simple steps. Another powerful teaching comes from the Stoic philosopher, Epictetus. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. This sentence teaches emotional balance. Many situations contain two parts: the part we can influence and the part we cannot. When we mix these two together, the mind becomes overwhelmed. But when we separate them, clarity appears. In a stressful moment, you can ask a simple question: what part of this situation belongs to me? Maybe your responsibility is to finish the task carefully. Maybe your responsibility is to speak honestly in a conversation. Maybe your responsibility is to stay patient with someone you care about. These actions are within your power. The results, however, are not always yours to control. Training the mind means focusing on the action, not the outcome. Social media also challenges emotional calm. Many people open their phone for a moment of distraction, but within seconds they see news, arguments, criticism, and comparison. Emotions begin to rise quickly. Anger at one post, jealousy at another, anxiety about the future. Without awareness, the mind absorbs every emotion it encounters. The Stoics would advise a different habit: protect the mind like a quiet garden. Not every voice deserves your attention. Not every argument deserves your energy. Sometimes calmness simply means stepping away from noise. The philosopher Seneca spoke about this inner discipline. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This statement reveals something important about stress. Often the mind creates pain before anything bad even happens. A message appears from someone important. The mind immediately imagines criticism. A delay happens in a project. The mind imagines disaster. These imagined fears multiply quickly. But calm thinking interrupts this pattern. Instead of believing every anxious thought, the trained mind observes it. It asks quietly, is this thought helpful? Is this thought true? If the thought is only fear, it can be released. Over time, this practice builds emotional strength. Strong emotions may still appear, but they no longer control your actions. You notice the emotion. You breathe. You allow it to pass without letting it take command. This ability becomes very powerful in relationships. Sometimes someone speaks in anger. Sometimes misunderstandings happen. An untrained mind reacts immediately. It argues. It raises its voice. It says words that later bring regret. But a trained mind pauses. It gives space for calm thinking. Instead of reacting, it responds with patience. Instead of escalating conflict, it chooses understanding. This pause may last only a few seconds. Yet those seconds can protect peace that would otherwise be lost. Training the mind is not a one-day process. It happens slowly, through daily awareness, through repeated practice, through gentle reminders to return to calm thinking. At first, the mind may forget. It may still react quickly. But each time you remember the Stoic path, the habit becomes stronger. The storm of emotions becomes quieter. Clarity begins to appear more often. And once the mind learns this calm discipline, it becomes ready to explore another powerful Stoic practice. Many people believe that happiness means expecting life to go smoothly. They imagine a future where problems disappear, where everything works perfectly. where nothing difficult ever arrives. But life rarely moves this way. Unexpected problems appear again and again. Plans change. Delays happen. People disappoint us. Health, work, and relationships can all bring sudden challenges. When someone expects life to always be easy, these moments feel shocking. The mind becomes upset and confused. It says, "This should not be happening." But the Stoic teachers prepared their minds differently. Instead of pretending problems will not appear, they quietly expected them. This simple practice makes the mind stronger. When difficulty arrives, it does not feel like a disaster. It feels like something the mind was already ready to face. The philosopher Seneca spoke about this powerful habit. He robs present ills of their power, who has perceived their coming beforehand. This sentence teaches an important mental skill. When we calmly imagine possible problems before they arrive, they lose some of their shock. The mind becomes prepared instead of surprised. This Stoic practice is sometimes called negative visualization. But the idea is not negative at all. It is actually a tool for building calm strength. For example, imagine your work situation for a moment. A project may fail. A company may change direction. A job may suddenly disappear. Most people avoid thinking about these possibilities. They push the thought away because it feels uncomfortable. But avoiding reality does not protect us. It only makes us unprepared. The Stoic approach is calmer and wiser. You quietly accept that change is always possible. You remind yourself that life moves in cycles. Success and difficulty both appear along the path. When the mind understands this, it becomes flexible. If a challenge arrives, it no longer feels like the end of everything. Instead, it feels like a moment to adapt. Another powerful reminder comes from Epictetus. Do not hope that events will happen as you wish, but welcome events in whichever way they happen. These words encourage mental readiness. Life does not follow our script. Events unfold in their own direction. But when the mind learns to welcome reality instead of fighting it, peace becomes possible even during difficulty. Social media often trains people to expect constant comfort. Online, we mostly see moments of success, moments of celebration, moments of perfect happiness. But these images show only a small part of life. Behind every success story, there were failures. Behind every confident person, there were moments of doubt. When we expect life to always look perfect, disappointment grows quickly. But when we expect both light and darkness, we become emotionally balanced. The wise emperor Marcus Aurelius practiced this mental preparation every day. He reminded himself that he might meet difficult people. He might face criticism. He might encounter selfish behavior. By thinking about these possibilities ahead of time, he protected his calm. When the moment arrived, he was not surprised. He was ready to respond with patience. Think about relationships for a moment. Many people enter relationships expecting perfect understanding. They imagine their partner will always agree, always respond kindly, always meet their emotional needs. But human beings are imperfect. Misunderstandings happen. Mood changes happen. Disagreements happen. When someone expects perfection, small conflicts feel huge. But when someone expects occasional difficulty, the mind remains calm. Instead of reacting with anger, it responds with patience. Instead of assuming the worst, it looks for understanding. This quiet preparation changes the way we experience challenges. A delay becomes an opportunity to practice patience. A mistake becomes a chance to learn. A disappointment becomes a moment for growth. Over time, this mindset builds emotional resilience. Resilience means the ability to bend without breaking. When the unexpected arrives, you remain steady. You adapt instead of collapsing. You continue moving forward with calm awareness. The Stoics believed that life will always contain storms. But a prepared mind becomes like a strong tree. The wind may shake its branches, yet its roots remain deep and steady. And once the mind learns to expect challenges with calm readiness, another important Stoic lesson begins to unfold. Many people spend their lives chasing praise and avoiding criticism. They want approval from others. They want to be liked. They want to appear successful. But this chase can quietly steal peace, because people cannot control what others think. Opinions change constantly. What is admired today may be criticized tomorrow. If your happiness depends on approval, it will always be fragile. The Stoics taught a different approach. Focus on your own choices. Focus on your own character. This is something no one can take away from you. The philosopher Seneca explained it simply. It is not the man who has little, but he who desires more. That is poor. When the mind constantly desires approval, it feels empty. But when the mind builds self-worth internally, it becomes steady. Marcus Aurelius also reminded himself of this truth. Do not waste time on what others think of you. These words are short, but powerful. They encourage the mind to turn inward. Social media makes this lesson especially important. Every post, every comment, every like or dislike can stir emotions. Without awareness, the mind begins to measure self-worth by these external signals. The Stoic approach is calm. Observe the information. Learn what is useful. Ignore what only disturbs your peace. A post that brings envy. A comment that brings anger. A like that brings pride. These are outside your control. Your response is within your control. You can choose calmness. You can choose patience. You can choose to focus on what truly matters. Epictetus gave a clear example. Seek not the good in external things. Seek it in yourself. This simple practice shifts attention from the crowd to your own mind. Job pressure works in the same way. Some people work long hours to please others. They want recognition. They want promotion. They fear criticism. This constant focus on external judgment creates stress. Instead, the Stoic path teaches focusing on effort, your work, your honesty, your diligence. These are yours to control. Promotion or praise, these are not. When you let go of the need for approval, you free your mind. Relationships are similar. Many conflicts arise from wanting people to see us in a certain way, expecting others to behave perfectly, wanting constant affirmation. This expectation often brings disappointment. But when you build your inner sense of worth, you respond calmly. You do not collapse when someone disagrees. You do not cling when someone praises you. You see the situation clearly. You act with integrity. Your inner peace becomes independent of external judgment. Another Stoic insight comes from Marcus Aurelius. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. This sentence gently highlights a human tendency. We naturally value ourselves, but we allow the opinions of others to control our happiness. Stoicism teaches reversing this pattern. Build love and respect for yourself first. Observe external opinions without letting them dominate your mind. The mind that achieves this balance is steady. It does not collapse under criticism. It does not inflate under praise. Instead, it moves calmly through life. It makes decisions based on values, not fear of judgment. It finds contentment within, rather than chasing it from others. And as this principle strengthens, the mind becomes ready to embrace simplicity. A life free from constant desire for praise naturally leads to calmer, more deliberate living. This gentle focus prepares the mind for another essential Stoic lesson. Simplicity is a quiet strength. Many people fill their lives with noise. They buy things they do not need. They chase experiences that bring only short-lived pleasure. They surround themselves with distractions that keep the mind busy, but not calm. The Stoic teachers observed this long ago. They believed that a simple life is a peaceful life. When we focus on what is essential, the mind has room to breathe. It can rest. It can grow. Marcus Aurelius wrote gently about this idea. Very little is needed to make a happy life. These words remind us that abundance does not equal peace. Sometimes, less is more. Owning fewer things, expecting less from others, seeking less approval. These habits quietly build calm. Seneca also advised on this path. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor. The mind that constantly wants more is never satisfied. The mind that practices simplicity is always content. Modern life makes this lesson challenging. Social media, advertisements, and constant comparison encourage us to want more. We see what others own. We see what others achieve. We feel the pressure to match them. This pressure disturbs the mind. It creates anxiety and restlessness. The Stoics would gently suggest stepping back. Observe the desire. See that it is not necessary for peace. Ask, do I truly need this? Can I be calm without it? Through this questioning, the mind begins to release attachment. Another Stoic, Epictetus, explained how freedom comes from this practice. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When we simplify our desires, we become free. We are no longer controlled by possessions. We are no longer controlled by opinions. We are no longer controlled by unnecessary expectations. Simplicity also applies to our habits. Eating moderately, speaking slowly, resting the mind, and reducing unnecessary commitments. These actions build a steady inner world. The mind becomes less fragile. The heart becomes less restless. Relationships also benefit from simplicity. Expect less from others. Offer more understanding. Avoid unnecessary arguments over small things. When life is simple, the mind does not overreact to minor frustrations. It notices what matters most. It gives attention to values, not distractions. Calmness grows naturally in this quiet space. Social media can still create pressure, but a simple mind is less affected. It scrolls without panic. It observes without envy. It notices without reacting strongly. The Stoics practiced this habit daily. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself every morning to focus on what truly matters and to let go of unnecessary desires. Seneca emphasized that life is long if we know how to use it. The time we spend chasing fleeting pleasures is time lost from inner growth. Through simplicity, we protect our mind from unnecessary suffering. We create space for reflection. We create space for calm decision-making. We create space for peace that cannot be shaken by the outside world. And when the mind lives in simplicity, it naturally begins to guard itself against negativity. It becomes ready to protect its calm from harmful influences. This protective habit is another key Stoic principle. The mind is like a garden. If we allow weeds to grow, they take over. If we do not protect it, harmful influences quietly disturb peace. In life, people, news, and social media can act like weeds. They bring negativity, gossip, judgment, and fear. If the mind absorbs every message without care, it becomes restless. The Stoics taught that protecting the mind is essential. Just as a gardener removes weeds, we must remove harmful influences. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This sentence carries quiet power. It shows that no external thing can truly disturb the mind unless we allow it. Epictetus also spoke about this protection. Keep your attention on your own mind. Do not let the words or actions of others take it away. This lesson is very practical today. When scrolling through social media, we may encounter angry comments, harsh opinions, or upsetting news. We can observe them, but we do not need to internalize them. We can gently let them pass without carrying their weight. The same principle applies to people around us. Sometimes someone speaks harshly or criticizes unfairly. The mind that is trained to protect itself listens without clinging. It observes, but it does not absorb harm. It responds when necessary, but calmly. Seneca explained this inner strength beautifully. Associate with people who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you can learn from, and avoid those who lead you astray. Not everyone deserves your attention. Not every voice deserves your energy. Protecting the mind also means choosing carefully where you invest time and thought. Work can bring stress if we let it dominate our mind. Gossip at work, petty arguments, or unnecessary comparisons can quietly disturb peace. The Stoic approach is to act responsibly, but avoid absorbing negativity. Relationships benefit as well. We cannot change how others behave. We can only control our own reactions. By protecting the mind, we respond with clarity instead of reacting with anger. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This practice builds emotional resilience. Negative influence may exist, but it cannot take root unless we allow it. The Stoics did not suggest isolation. They suggested careful awareness. We can participate in life fully, yet maintain a calm inner center. This principle connects closely to simple living. When the mind is clear, it can notice negativity quickly. It can release it. It can focus on what truly matters. Protecting the mind also strengthens decision-making. When we are not overwhelmed by harmful influences, we can respond with wisdom. We act from calm awareness, not emotional reaction. The inner garden remains fertile for growth, rather than overrun with chaos. Over time, this habit becomes natural. The mind instinctively shields itself from destructive influence. It observes without absorbing. It engages without losing calm. And once this principle is established, the mind becomes ready for another essential Stoic practice, turning obstacles into growth. Life often places obstacles directly in our path. Unexpected delays, difficult people, failures, disappointments. Many people see obstacles as enemies. They feel frustrated, angry, or defeated. The Stoics saw obstacles differently. They believed every obstacle is also an opportunity. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This sentence is simple, but its meaning is deep. When something blocks your path, you can waste energy resisting, or you can use the obstacle to grow stronger. A challenge at work may teach patience. A conflict in a relationship may teach understanding. A failure may teach resilience. Epictetus spoke clearly about this approach. Difficulties show men what they are. Every obstacle reveals something about our character. It reveals our patience, our courage, our wisdom. When we view problems as teachers, the mind reacts with curiosity instead of fear. Social media presents constant minor obstacles. A negative comment, a disappointing comparison, a post that triggers envy. A trained mind notices these triggers. It pauses. It observes the lesson. It does not collapse under every disturbance. Seneca also reflected on turning difficulties into growth. Fire tests gold, adversity tests men. The most difficult moments are also the most revealing. If we embrace them, we emerge stronger, calmer, and wiser. Job pressure works similarly. When deadlines appear impossible, the mind can panic. Or it can focus on what is possible. It can break the task into small steps. It can use pressure as motivation, rather than despair. The Stoic approach is always practical. Obstacles are not removed magically. They are faced with steady effort. The mind strengthens through action, not through complaint. Relationships, too, contain obstacles, disagreements, misunderstandings, different expectations. The Stoic mind notices these moments. It chooses patience. It chooses empathy. It sees opportunity for growth instead of reacting with anger. This mindset slowly transforms life. Challenges no longer control your emotions. Difficult people no longer drain your energy. The mind learns to see every obstacle as a teacher. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." This sentence reminds us that obstacles are natural. They are part of life's movement. By embracing them, we align ourselves with reality instead of fighting it. Over time, this perspective creates inner strength. You respond calmly under pressure. You learn quickly from failure. You act with clarity when emotions run high. Even when life seems harsh, you find steady ground inside. And once the mind practices turning obstacles into growth, it becomes ready for the final Stoic principle, creating lasting inner peace. No matter what happens outside, peace is not something given by the world. It does not arrive when everything goes perfectly. It does not appear when others approve of you. True peace comes from inside. It is built slowly. It is nurtured carefully. The Stoics taught that when the mind is steady, the outside world cannot disturb it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Nowhere can a man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." This sentence carries a gentle truth. No matter what happens outside, your inner sanctuary can remain calm. Epictetus also offered a clear guide. Keep your attention on your own mind. Take care of your own reason and judgment. Leave the rest to the world. The mind that protects itself trains itself, and practices acceptance gradually becomes unshakable. Social media, criticism, work pressure, unexpected events, they still appear, but they no longer disturb your inner calm. The heart remains steady. The mind remains clear. Seneca wrote, "He suffers less who does not place his happiness in external things." A peace does not depend on money, praise, relationships, or circumstances. It depends on your awareness, your choices, your character. A person who builds this inner peace reacts differently to life. When criticism appears, they pause instead of panicking. When obstacles appear, they see opportunity instead of despair. When loss appears, they accept reality calmly. The mind no longer collapses under the weight of the world. Even in relationships, calm awareness protects emotions. When a partner, friend, or colleague acts unpredictably, you observe. You respond from clarity, not fear. When social media brings comparison or envy, you notice the feeling and then release it. This inner practice is slow, gentle, and constant. Each day, each moment, each breath is a chance to strengthen peace. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on this quiet habit. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you while you live. While it is in your power, be good. This reminder is not about fear. It is about presence. It is about nurturing the mind while life unfolds. Over time, the inner sanctuary grows. No outside event can easily disturb it. You are steady. You are calm. You are free from the constant pull of praise, criticism, and fear. When peace is built this way, life becomes lighter. Problems still appear. People still act unexpectedly. The world still moves in unpredictable ways. But inside, you have a home that is untouched by chaos. This is the ultimate goal of the Stoic journey. A mind that is calm, steady, and unshakable. A heart that rests even when storms rage outside. A life lived with clarity, strength, and gentle awareness. And with this inner peace, nothing outside can truly affect you.